it's a pleasure to welcome Willie Miller here today after 797 appearances for Aberdeen over almost 20 years in the dugout, the boardroom, MBE of course, and today we're speaking on the eve of the announcement that Aberdeen's third Cruyff Court will be named after yourself. How does that feel for yourself, Willie?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of having, a facility like the Cruyff Court is just something that should be applauded, first of all, and to be associated with it, obviously. To give up any time and any kind of a opinion on it is a delight for me to be able to do that. And I think in particular because it tends to be, the more deprived areas of the city that you're looking at. I came from a very deprived area in Glasgow back in the 60s, the East End of Glasgow, which was extremely deprived. You're talking about outside toilets, etc., and no facilities at all. No ball game facilities. Played in the streets. You broke into the school, not literally, but you had to, get over the fence to be able to do that. So, to be able to be part and associated with a facility that gives the opportunity to kids, for kids to go and fill their time. I think that's the important thing. When you're young and developing and trying to find your way in life, you've got to be able to fill your time. And there's many ways you can fill your time. You can fill it in a negative way or a positive way. And I think, the Cruyff Court is definitely a positive aspect to the city, and one that I'm sure will be well used.
When you talk about facilities from concrete's Red Ash to Astro, one of the main things and the most important things of Cruyff Courts is that they're of course free. Mm-hmm. A lot of AstroTurfs around the UK and worldwide cost a lot for catering anyone to rent. So just how great is that for Cruyff Courts for entirely free?
It's magnificent for it not to have any cost applied to it. Back in the day, if the boys club needed a facility and the facilities weren't that great, but they still had to pay for it. So you had to, fundraising events to be able to actually go to a school or, the council and get an indoor facility for, in particular during the winter. So to have it free and to have it there and to have it instantly accessible is just magnificent.
Agreed. And this will be Cruyff Court Willie Miller will be Aberdeen's third of the city. So you got one in the north, in the centre and the south after Cruyff Court runs Dennis Law and Cruyff Court Neil Cooper. How proud are you to follow up in the footsteps of theirs? Obviously Neil Cooper was a teammate of yours, a great player. It must mean a lot.
Well, it does. Yeah, Neil was a very close friend and a well loved member of the team that I played in the 80s. 83 team in particular, when we won the 2 European trophies, and sadly missed. And Dennis Law, obviously an icon in football, just a player that was recognised as being a member of a World 11, which is quite incredible when you think of a Scotsman being able to reach the heights that he reached. So to be associated in the same breadth as Dennis Law and Neil Cooper is fabulous for me. But I think more importantly, it's about the charity itself and what it does, and the foundation that is given these kids the opportunity to go and fill their time in a positive manner. I think that's the real pride of being associated with it, rather than my name being associated with it. It's basically an opportunity for these kids to go and play in a surface any time they want to play, and hopefully it makes them better people, and it fulfills their life better, and it fulfills the time that they've got in a positive manner, and it's football that is associated with it. And I'm glad and delighted to be associated with the foundation itself.
So today, alongside the naming of Cruyff Court Willie Miller, is also you being announced as our very first ambassador. Mm-hmm. How did that come about, and how's that? Is that a privilege for yourself?
Yeah, well, I was just asked. I was asked if I would consider you know, being associated and being an ambassador for the foundation and the trust. So, yeah, I was delighted to accept it. You know, again, if I can do anything to help, you know, the any of the 3 courts in Aberdeen that are there, then I would only be too happy to do that. You know, to try and maybe spread the word and spread the knowledge of what's actually going on, and the work that is done, and the amount of effort and time that is put into making sure that these courts are a success. So very happy to be associated and part of the overall process and the overall target to try and, you know, make some of these areas in Aberdeen better for young people to be brought up in, and more enjoyable, and you know, hopefully they will enjoy the opportunity to play in the courts, but also that it maybe makes them better people as well, and it's something that is able to fill their time in a really constructive way.
Yeah. One of the key programmes, well, the key programme of Densall Legacy Trust is our street sport partnership. Is our street sport programme, sorry. Through that, we aim to inspire all the young people across the city to, as you say, become better people. Looking over back at your life as you were growing up as a teenager, or even less than that, 12, 13, 14, was there anyone who particularly inspired you, or, you know, got you into not just football, but perhaps as a man, or growing up to be a man?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're inspired by football players of the day. That is taken, but you need people that are going to give you the opportunity to follow that dream. And you know, I wouldn't have been involved in football, I don't think, unless my 2 primary school teachers, Mr. Wright and Mr. Stewart, actually convinced me to take part in the football team at age 10, 11 as a goalkeeper, would you believe? And it was their enthusiasm, and it was their commitment, and it was them that convinced me to actually you know, take part in an organised team, which was Kilmarnock primary team. And then you moved on beyond that, you know, when you went to the secondary, and you had the same support from Mr. McLaughlin, it was, in the secondary school, who was a chemistry teacher, knew nothing about football, but he was willing to give his time up to be there on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, to give the kids the opportunity to play the game. And then Ian Stevenson, it was at Easter Craigs, who really, you know, gave you that. Wasn't a professional outlook, but were organised. You know, you had to tidy yourself up. You had to wear a blazer. Had to make sure that you were there on time. He was laid back, but he still insisted that there was discipline there, and that it was a more professional type of outlook that you had to being part of a football team. And Easter Craigs really then gave me the opportunity to be spotted by the Aberdeen Scouts, Glasgow Rangers, Celtic Scouts, because they knew that you know, Ian would do his homework and get the best of the East End of Glasgow together in terms of the football, potential football players, and they would come and watch you. And then it was Aberdeen that approached me first with Bobby Calder and Jimmy Carswell, and they then convinced your parents that you'd be looked after coming all the way up to Aberdeen, which back in the day used to take about 5 hours, because the roads were absolutely dreadful. So it was a long way from home, but all these people gave up their time, you know, free of charge. Obviously not Bobby and Jimmy, because they were employed by Aberdeen Football Club, but the rest, you know, school teachers and Ian Stevenson at Easter Craigs, you know, and Ian Stevenson's still doing it to this day. So you just can't let it go. You know, without these volunteers, then you just wouldn't have got the opportunity in the East End of Glasgow back in the day.
Yeah. So alongside street sport and the Cruyff courts, you know, it's not just, well, we don't necessarily try and create a professional footballer. We just provide a platform for young people to strive to have, like, gain their confidence through sport and different creative activities. How, obviously, you've been through the path in sport yourself. How important do you think it is, or how pivotal is sport to, you know, for young people to express themselves and gain confidence achievements and things in life.
Yeah, and you know, gain relationships as well with other people. I think it's very important, and you know, as I said earlier, it's not every player that starts, every young person that starts at the age of 9, 10, 11, whatever age you want to start at, that's going to become a professional footballer. But if you're good enough and you're determined enough and you've got enough drive, then there's, you know, a whole host of different levels that you can achieve. Even to just playing the game for fun, even to, you know, you start as an early age and then you move, even if it's five-a-sides, that you're getting together with your mates and going to the five-a-side courts and, you know, playing with them, and having that social aspect to it as well, I think is really important.
Cruyff Court Willie Miller will hopefully be built in the next few months, providing that platform that we've just spoken about, and alongside you being an ambassador, lasting legacy for yourself in the city, as well as the Legacy Trust as a whole. So on behalf of the Denswell Legacy Trust, thank you very much for accepting being an ambassador, obviously being part of the organisation now, and having your name as part of a Cruyff Court, and the third in Aberdeen and only the fourth in Scotland. I think it's the 12th in the UK as total. So hopefully for you a fantastic legacy, and for us it's brilliant. So thank you for that, Willie.
Okay, it's a pleasure.